that swipe it was on it.
Alright, well, we got this guy suspended and ready. We're going to try and set it in there to make sure. I traditionally had a front sump pan. That's why those motor mounts are so big and tall. And now I've got a rear sump. I just want to make sure it clears everything before we put the weld the bungs in there. We might have to convert it, so we'll make sure she fits and then go from there. Okay, we got it up on the lift. The motor's just in. I got one bolt in it. Anyway, we're watching steering components. Make sure we clear the rear sump fan. And this is what we see. No conflicts. Now, again, it's going to go down a little bit more when we put weight on it, but not much. So if we have a conflict, it's going to be turning super to the left. We got an inch here, so those just change a little bit. Should be all right. Anyway, exhaust is all in the way. Yeah, now it's pull the motor back out and get the engine bay cleaned up and stuff. So we'll see what's next. All right, measurements taken. Motor pulled back out. Everything clears. We're gonna get all these wires out of here. All these cables, heater hoses. We're going to pull the radiator, trans cooler, all kinds of stuff. Get it all cleaned out because all that's going to get rerouted. The radiator is going to, I'm going to re-weld these. Actually, my buddy Barry did these for me a long time ago, but we're going to move the radiator out and mount it in the same points, but from the other side of the radiator. That'll move the radiator forward enough. We can get our intercooler in the front there. Yeah, and then the trans cooler right here. We're going to probably mount it down in the fender well or something, like down in here. There's lots of room down here. It'll be hidden. It'll still get air. I can build a little sheet so it doesn't get hit with rocks, but it shouldn't anyway. And then we'll do the oil cooler probably on the other side. So I'll have oil cooler in the fender well, trans cooler over here, intercooler for the turbos, and then the radiator. Should look pretty neat. It'll get that black out of there, so it'll look a little nice and clean behind there. Kid's going to take the fender off here soon. Probably, I don't know, we might take the grill off too. Got the transmission here. Then we got, this is the old school carburetor setup. It's a Holly blue with a Fram filter, -10 line. Because we were going to plan on running nitrous on this. We actually ran nitrous on this for a minute, just for fun. So we're going to pull all of that out. run our AEM fuel line down here in return. Hopefully there's no conflicting issues with the return going to the bottom of the tank. I have some ports up here. This is supposed to be a vent, but I got to do something with that because it doesn't clear the bottom of the bed. So I'm gonna have to do something with that. Figure something out. Maybe put a line down and loop it around or something. We're gonna look at the electrical again. If you move your battery in your car or your truck from the stock location and you want to go to the racetrack, you have to have a shutoff switch. And that shutoff switch has to kill the entire car. So if it's sitting there running and you shut that shutoff switch off, the car needs to die. So it's got an interrupter for the alternator also. That's what these wires were for. This goes up to the main body supply. And I know it's black, sorry. That's what I had. Anyway, so we're going to look at the electrical and see about rerunning it because I think the ECU can do all that, and I don't think it's good for the ECU to be randomly shut off when the motor's running. I got to look at that information again. Still debating on whether to replace that with the power steering unit I've got. I've read some, they say that you have to replace the steering column with a shorter steering column. So I'll look at that while I have the motor and stuff out, hold it up there and see what I think. It'd be really cool if I didn't, but it looks like there's very little clearance right under there, so probably will have to replace the steering column. We'll see. I've got another steering column in the other room. I wonder if it's shorter or if it might have came out of something that had power steering. Who knows? Yeah, so there's an update for today. This is right before big push time to get this guy all put together and running. So just doing all the prep work, trying to make sure that everything is in line. There you go. Well, this kind of sucks. It's just a little bit, I'm not even talking about, I don't know how to say it. I might could just die grind it or something on the inside. It is that tight. It's like right, I don't know. This is a metric unit, and this is 2.5 inch outside diameter. I think it's like a 0.5 millimeter off. So I can just die grind this out a little bit so this will slip on there. Actually, it goes on this way. It's just right at the edge. Slide that on there so I can weld it in. And then that'll make the turbos, because that'll come right off the back of the turbo, like the turbo's sitting right here. Come right off the back, you know, something like that. And then I can do another 45 to get it down to the right angle on the existing exhaust. So plus now I have 2.5 inch piping I can work with. Heck, I think we paid a bunch more just when we were doing VR6's car, just for a couple pieces. So yeah, anyway, that just came in today. Okay, so it's time to put some holes in my oil pan. What I'm going to do is try and put it, this is a crank counterbalance, and this is one of the main caps. So I'm going to try and put it as close to the main cap. If not, I'll have to move it back to here, because I don't want the crank swinging by and oil dripping out, and it defeats the purpose. It would just that's why they put crank scrapers and stuff in pans. It robs horsepower for no reason. So if I can get it over here somewhere, it'll help with that. So what I'm going to do is just come over just from the center of that gasket area, and that's about 2 inches. See, from the center of that gasket area right there. And I'll come over here, center of the gasket area, come up about 2 inches. You can see, I don't know if you can see or not, I put a little mark there. And then I went 2 inches up, which is 2 inches down here. Puts it, you know, right about main cap height, a little bit below main cap height. You can see there's a dot right there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Right about 2 inches. That's the center of my hole. And now we're just going to drill her. I did that on both sides, same spot, 2 by 2, 2 inches over, 2 inches up. We'll see how it works. All right, well, got her in. This is a fresh paint from yesterday. Painted this guy up. I didn't film it, but I replaced this gasket and put this guy back on this morning. Get a little excited sometimes to start working before I realize people might want to see stuff. I was 2 bolts short. I don't know how I lost 2 of them, but so I put a little 1/4 inch 7/16, and I chose to put them right above here on both sides. I don't know why, just for balance. Anyway, these guys are in. My terrible welds are covered up with black paint now, so you can almost not tell they're terrible. And the paint finished up good on this. I didn't 320 this before I painted it, so it's got 80 grit all over it. So, but it got a good coat on it. It's nice. And I got the valve covers off because, man, the more I looked at them, they just look terrible. Let's see if you can see. They just look terrible. I couldn't leave that, so I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can sandblast them, replace my glass in the sandblaster, or just put the old stuff back. Sandblast these things. I still got to weld the bungs in anyway, so I'm going to put a bung here, and I'm going to take this off and put a bung right here because it's got the deal on the inside, the baffle. So one will be in the front, one will be in the back, but that's just the way it is. And that's really all I've done this morning, just kind of poked on that a little bit. It was quite the struggle getting this on. Usually Felpro sends those little plastic things that holds it in place, and they weren't in the box, so it wasn't an open box. I think it was just an anomaly. Anyway, that's what she looks like inside there from the bottom. And then that's a different view, but I'll get a new bumper. But it's going to come together. I like it. I got the radiator out, and that's the transcooler. So we're going to move the transcooler like I talked about in the fender. The radiator, the brackets are going to get swapped on the other side, and the intercooler is going to go right up front here. So I'll try and record some more of that. Anyway, there's an update. Anyway, I don't know. That's what we're thinking about. The top is flush with this. The hood comes down to right there and sits there. So that gives me enough room to come drill holes through there. This thing will have to come around the cold side, but I got an adapter for that. Those guys should cut through there. Oh, we'll see. I'm getting excited. Alright, so I used this piece of sandpaper so you can see the rings where the rivets were. And I used my center punch to give it a little. So I already did the other two. You notice it wobbled right there. Usually you just go till you see rust, because usually between two pieces of metal on an old car there's rust. So you just go until you see rust. See that rust? So it just pops, it just basically just drills the metal around the rivets. So yeah, and that's all there is to that. I needed to do that because right about here, I'm going to drill a hole for the piping. Try this again. New bit. Trying to break that one. Oh, come on. It's almost there.